At the Aspen Highlands lift line, the scanner blinked red when Ryan Bailey held up his prepaid season pass.
That beat-up piece of junk. The scanner isn't reading your pass. Try the public hill. It's 2 miles down.
Scan it again. Or call your supervisor.
He's busy. And you are not getting on this lift with that wreck. Now step back.
Oh my God, that's Ryan Bailey.
The camera on the phone snapped to record. In seconds, the whole lift line stirred with disbelief and whispers. Others pulled out their phones. Ryan's face didn't flinch. A faint, knowing smirk crossed his lips, as if he'd been here before. Where his sponsor logos once gleamed, all that remained was a scraped patch, and inside it, a faded yellow circle stamped Olympic Team USA.
I don't care what your pass says.
The prepaid season pass was perfectly valid. Every detail checked out. But Brandon didn't care. Trent's phone was already live on Instagram. The video feed from the lift line was climbing in views by the second.
You filming this? Get that phone out of my face now.
Let him dig his own grave. Just stay quiet.
You people lie about the Olympics all the time. Probably stole that pass.
A collective gasp ran through the line. The words cut like ice, caught in every phone now rolling. Ryan's jaw tightened. The calm almost shattered. He swallowed the fury and locked eyes with the attendant. Within minutes, the clip exploded. Notifications stacked on every social feed. The lift line confrontation had gone viral. Around them, wealthy skiers started murmuring. 2 words echoed through the cold air. Ryan Bailey. Brandon sensed the shift, but refused to yield. His arm across the turnstile grew rigid. He wouldn't back down. The line behind Ryan stretched longer. Ski patrol radios crackled in the distance. But for now, the gates stayed shut, and the world was watching. In the bitter stillness at the turnstile, Ryan's mind snapped back 18 months to a stadium roaring his name. He had stood atop the world, gold medal heavy around his neck, a nation chanting his name. 3 months later, he scraped every sponsor decal off his board alone. He wanted quiet snow, not fame.
I scraped them off for peace, not this.
Brandon's shoulder radio crackled. He didn't answer, didn't move. The line behind Ryan surged with restless energy.
I am not lying. Scan the pass one more time.
A woman in a fur coat shouted, "He is Ryan Bailey, you idiot." The crowd's whispers became a roar.
I don't care who he is. This pass is invalid. Step back.
At Aspen Snowmass headquarters, an urgent alert lit up CEO Diane Chen's laptop. The viral clip had landed, and it was already a crisis. She watched 10 seconds of the video, then grabbed her coat. Her driver was already waiting outside. The situation couldn't wait. A lean man in a ski patrol jacket pushed through the crowd. It was Brandon's supervisor, finally responding to the escalating radio calls. He barked at Brandon to step aside and let him handle the situation. The order only fueled Brandon's fury. Brandon shoved the supervisor aside. Then he spun around and lunged at Trent, ripping the phone from his hands.
Hey, that's my phone.
Brandon hurled the device into a snowbank. It vanished with a crunch. The live feed instantly went dark for thousands of viewers. In the scuffle, Ryan's pass slipped from his fingers and landed face down on the icy ground. The lift line erupted. People stumbled backward. Someone screamed. One woman shouted for security. Ryan didn't move. He stared at his pass on the ground, then back at Brandon, who was breathing like a wild animal. In the black SUV, rolling toward the mountain, Diane Chen watched the now dark screen and told her driver to speed up. She called her security chief and ordered the lift line cleared. Whatever was happening, it was about to end. The black SUV pulled up at the lift line, its Aspen Snowmass logo clear. Diane Chen emerged, scanning the chaos. The crowd parted without a word. She walked straight toward the turnstile, her eyes locked on Brandon.
What is going on here?
The scanner's not reading his pass. I was just following procedure.
Diane picked the pass up off the snow. She ran it on her own tablet. The screen lit green, valid.
This pass is valid. You are suspended pending investigation. Leave the mountain now.
Ski Patrol escorted Brandon away. He didn't struggle, his face a blank shock. Applause erupted from the crowd. Trent pulled his phone from the snow, checking for damage.
Finally, but this isn't over.
Ryan picked up his pass, dusted it off, and slipped it into his pocket. He met Diane's steady gaze. Inside the lodge, Diane led Ryan to a quiet corner. The chaos of the lift line faded.
Mr. Bailey, I owe you a personal apology. What happened out there was unacceptable. I've followed your career since the Olympics. Your half-pipe run was the most beautiful thing I've ever seen on snow.
She unfolded a plan, a permanent half-pipe feature named after him, and a free lesson day hosted by Ryan.
The lesson day has to be for kids who don't normally get here. Underprivileged communities. No press stunts.
That's more than fair. I'll coordinate with local youth organizations.
Ryan paused, then added one more condition: a permanent scholarship for black ski instructors.
Let's make sure this isn't a one-day photo op. Build something that outlasts us both.
You have my word. I'll bring this to the board, but I am confident it will pass.
They shook hands. The deal was sealed, but the real work was just beginning. 3 days later, Aspen Snowmass officially announced the Ryan Bailey Free Lesson Day, and the media jumped on it.
We're partnering with youth groups in Denver and Aurora. Ryan will personally select the kids.
I want kids who've never touched snow. If they don't have gloves, we'll provide them.
He combed through applications, choosing 50 children. One name caught his eye: Jamal, age 10, who wrote that he dreamed of flying. Meanwhile, in a cramped apartment, Brandon Shaw launched his counterattack.
The media twisted everything. I was just doing my job. Don't let them destroy a hard-working American.
Within hours, the internet did what it does best. Memes flooded every platform. His GoFundMe became a laughingstock. Donations crawled to $43.
Mrs. Davis, I'd like Jamal to join us. I'll make sure he's safe.
The lesson day was set for Saturday. The mountain would see something it had never seen before. Saturday morning, a yellow school bus pulled into Aspen's lot, and 49 kids from Denver pressed their faces to the cold windows.
Welcome to the mountain, everybody. Grab your gear and let's make some tracks. You must be Jamal. You ever stand on snow before?
No, sir. I've never been on snow in my whole life.
Today you will, I promise.
Beyond the chain-link fence, a lone figure pressed a phone to the wire. Brandon Shaw was recording every second.
They'll see the real story. The media can't twist what I am showing now.
A ski patrol officer approached. He had no pass, no badge, and no business on this property. Brandon cursed under his breath, shoved the phone into his pocket, and trudged toward the parking lot. On the snow, Jamal took his first shaky glide, and the whole mountain seemed to hold its breath. Within an hour, the beginner slope became a chorus of laughter and soft wipeouts. Jamal fell 6 times and got back up 7.
You are almost there, Jamal. Just keep your weight centered.
Then Jamal locked his heels and rode 10 feet, steady as a prayer, his face breaking into a smile that lit the whole slope. By noon, the lesson ended in cheers and tired, happy faces. Only the naming ceremony could top this.
It is my honor to formally name this half-pipe after Ryan Bailey, a champion who rides for everyone.
This mountain belongs to all of us. I am donating every dollar from today to a black ski instructor scholarship.
The crowd erupted. Diane stepped forward with an oversized check, and the applause mixed with tears. The bronze plaque was mounted at the half-pipe base. A permanent mark, they hoped, of something bigger than one man. After the ceremony, Diane shook Ryan's hand. "This is just the beginning," she said. But Ryan's thoughts were elsewhere. The quiet snow still called. He needed one more ride, just for himself. That evening, Brandon's GoFundMe froze at exactly $40. The donations had stopped, but the jokes had not. His latest video rant, accusing the media of a conspiracy, only fueled more clown makeup memes and mocking comments. He slammed the laptop shut and sat in the dark of his cramped apartment, his crusade reduced to a bad punchline. Meanwhile, Ryan strapped into his board atop the halfpipe that now carried his name. The mountain was silent, emptied of the day's celebration. He dropped in with the ease of a man who had argued with gravity and won. Every carve was an exhale, every edge change a release.
This is why I scraped off the logos. For this.
At the flat bottom, he pulled off one glove and touched the scraped patch. The yellow Olympic stamp was still there, a ghost of the past he carried everywhere. The sun set behind the peaks, painting the snow in copper and rose. The halfpipe became an empty cathedral, and he was the only worshipper. He walked over to the lodge's outdoor fire pit and sat alone, letting the flames warm his face as the stars came out. The mountain had listened, and for the first time in a long while, Ryan Bailey felt completely whole. 2 weeks after the ceremony, the first Ryan Bailey Scholarship was awarded to Keisha, a 23-year-old single mother from Denver.
Mr. Bailey, I don't know how to thank you. This changes everything for me and my daughter.
Just promise me you'll pass it on. That's all the thanks I need.
The call was brief, but the local news was already cutting the footage into a segment that would air that evening. The next morning, a newspaper article ran with the headline, "Local Mom Gets Second Chance, Thanks to Olympian's Scholarship." 60 miles away, Brandon Shaw was filling out a job application in a cramped ski rental shop. His resume a single page of faded achievements. He sat behind a cracked counter, surrounded by decades-old rental gear. The owner had hired him because he needed cheap labor, not a clean record. During a slow afternoon, Brandon spotted a newspaper on the counter. The front page headline read, "Aspen Diversity Numbers Soar After Bailey Incident." He read the article, his grip tightening on the paper until it crumpled into a ball. The mountain had become a symbol of inclusion, while he was its cautionary tale. He shoved the balled-up paper into the trash bin, but the damage was done. The world had moved on. Brandon Shaw had not. 3 months after the ceremony, Ryan returned to Aspen for a quiet weekend, carrying only his old board. At the base, an 8-year-old girl in a pink jacket spotted him and ran over, her small snowboard dragging behind her.
Are you Ryan Bailey? You are the reason I started snowboarding.
What's your name, champ?
Lily, I watched your lesson day video 100 times. Mom said we could come here because of you.
Ryan pulled out a marker and signed her board. "Ride free, Lily." Her mother watched with tearful eyes. Nearby, Diane Chen paused on her way to a meeting and saw the small crowd forming around Ryan. She smiled.
The half-pipe looks permanent now, doesn't it? This mountain needed you, Ryan.
Ryan glanced toward the bronze plaque at the half-pipe. It had only been a few months, but it already felt like it had been there forever. He walked on, Lily's giggle echoing behind him. The mountain now a place where kids like her and Jamal truly belonged. 2 more weeks passed before Brandon's fragile job, held by a thread, finally snapped. A customer recognized him from the viral video and demanded to speak to the manager. The confrontation was brief and loud. The manager handed him his final paycheck without a word and told him to clear out his locker by noon. Desperate, he emailed a tabloid offering his side of the story. Their reply was a single line, "Not interested." The next day, a local paper ran a brief item. Brandon Shaw fired from rental job. He'd become a cautionary footnote. In the same hour, Ryan's phone rang with an invitation to keynote the Winter Sports Inclusion Conference in Salt Lake City.
I'll do it, but only if we can bring some of the kids up on stage with me.
3 weeks later, he stood before a crowd of 500 industry leaders and told them about Quiet Snow.
You don't need cameras to change a mountain. You just need to open the gate.
The audience rose to their feet, and in that moment, Ryan understood that his voice was now part of the mountain's foundation. 12 months to the day after the lift line incident, Aspen Snowmass published a landmark report. Visitors of color had surged 40%. The Ryan Bailey halfpipe was no longer a quiet corner. Every afternoon, it hosted a rolling festival of riders from every background. The bronze plaque became a photo stop, worn shiny, where 1,000 hands had touched it. Families queued to take selfies. On the beginner slope, Jamal, now 11, was teaching his little sister how to strap in. He had come every weekend since that first lesson.
Don't worry. I fell about 100 times the first day. You'll be better than me by lunch.
Keisha, the scholarship's first recipient, now led a class of 5-year-olds on the same slope. Her instructor's jacket carried the program patch. Ryan watched from the lodge deck. He saw Keisha lift a scared child onto a board, Jamal's sister take her first wobbling glide.
This is what it looks like when you stop guarding the gate. The mountain reclaims itself.
Later that evening, an email from the U.S. snowboard team arrived. They wanted him on an inclusion advisory board. The decision was easy. He started typing a reply, but paused. The mountain was quiet now. He wanted to ride one more time before he said yes. He closed the laptop without typing a word. The halfpipe was calling, and he would answer first. He dropped in as the sun smeared orange across the peaks. The snow turned to silk under his edges. He rode through the glades, each turn a testament to the quiet he had carved out of this mountain.
I never needed fame. I just needed this.
At the bottom, he pulled off a glove and touched the scraped patch. The yellow stamp was still there, but it felt lighter now. He walked back to the lodge as stars freckled the sky. A hot drink in hand, the fire pit crackling low. Inside, the laptop still glowed. He clicked reply and typed 2 letters. Yes, he sent it without hesitation, and then watched the firelight dance on the lodge walls. The Inclusion Advisory Board would have him, but the mountain already did, and that was enough. He had come looking for quiet snow. He had found something far louder, and he was ready to let it ring. 3 years after the lift line incident, a small local station aired a segment titled Brandon Shaw, Then and Now.
I was wrong. I took diversity training, Ryan Bailey. If you are watching, I am sorry.
The apology was years late. It aired to almost no audience, a footnote in the long scroll of forgotten news. That same week, at an airport terminal, a reporter caught Ryan Bailey between flights and asked about Brandon's attempt.
I hope he learned. That's all.
The reporter pressed for more, but Ryan shouldered his board bag and headed for the gate. His answer was final. A 2-line item in a local paper noted the apology. The public had already moved on, and Brandon's name drew mostly shrugs. In his cramped apartment, Brandon turned off the television and stared at the blank screen. The silence was louder than any broadcast.
He's not my burden anymore. The mountain already decided.
Ryan boarded his flight, the old board with its scraped logos stowed overhead. The apology was just a footnote in a story that had already been written. The Ryan Bailey halfpipe became an annual institution. Every winter, kids from 3 states arrived for a free weekend camp. Ryan returned each year, no longer hiding. His presence alone taught more than any lesson plan. Jamal, now a teenager, landed his first air over the camp's ramp. Lily, at 10, was already coaching younger riders. In the 5th year, the resort announced a permanent statue at the base, capturing the moment of his Olympic flight. They unveiled it on a clear January morning. Bronze Ryan, mid-air, board scraped just like the real one. Ryan stood before it, silent, his gloved hand touching the bronze edge. His eyes glistened.
They got the scrapes right.
He didn't speak. He just nodded to the sculptor and walked back toward the halfpipe. The halfpipe was packed, a living monument to everything he had fought for. And Ryan Bailey, the king of quiet snow, simply strapped in and joined the line. He slipped away from the halfpipe before anyone could stop him. The chairlift was empty, and he needed the quiet. The lift carried him up into the alpine stillness. Below, The statue became a tiny bronze dot among the crowds. He pulled his old board across his lap. The scraped-off logos were almost invisible now, worn by years of powder and ice. He removed his glove and touched the faded yellow circle stamped Olympic Team USA. It felt like a scar that had healed.
All that noise, all those cameras, and the quiet still wins.
The sun sank behind the peaks, painting the snow in rose and violet. He was the only rider on the lift. He didn't need a statue or a named halfpipe right now. He just needed the cold air, and the memory of gravity surrendered.
This mountain gave me everything, and I gave it back.
As the chair reached the top, he pulled his glove back on and strapped in. The last run was his alone. He dropped into the slope, a silhouette against the dying sun, carving a path only he could trace. In a hardware store in a small town, a graying man in his 50s stocked shelves. The faded name tag read, Brandon. A customer gestured toward the break room, where a faded red ski patrol vest hung from a hook.
Used to be someone.
He didn't elaborate. He turned back to the shelf and reached for another box. The vest had a stain on the collar. The aspen patch was peeling at the corner, but it still hung there. Every shift, he never threw it out. He never explained why. The few words he gave were enough. Now and then, a customer asked about the mountains. He'd just say he used to work there. Nothing more. The old news articles had long yellowed in a box under his bed. He'd stopped reading them years ago. In the break room, he'd sometimes stare at the vest without blinking, as if it could still give him an answer. But the vest said nothing, and the mountain had forgotten his name. At a gate in Denver, Ryan waited for his next flight. A young black boy in snowboard gear stared from across the terminal. He pulled his father's sleeve and pointed. The father nodded and gently pushed him forward. The boy walked over, gripping his helmet. His voice was small but certain. "Are you Ryan Bailey? Can I get your autograph?" Ryan knelt to meet his eyes. The father stepped closer, a worn duffel bag in hand. The father's voice cracked. "We're on our way to Aspen because of you." Ryan took the marker and signed the bright white helmet. His writing was slow and careful.
Remember, the mountain belongs to you too.
The father's eyes glistened. He pressed his lips together and just nodded. Ryan handed the helmet back and ruffled the boy's hair. A small smile spread on the child's face. Another rider was already on his way. The mountain would be ready. The Ryan Bailey halfpipe never went quiet again. Every winter, a new chorus of riders carved their names into its walls. The bronze plaque was polished by 1,000 curious fingers. It read like a promise kept. On the beginner slope, the faces had changed, but the laughter had not. Jamal's sister was now coaching kids of her own. Ryan still rode the trees alone, but he was no longer hiding. He was just at home. He took the chairlift when no one was looking, his board across his lap, the mountains silent as witness to all that had changed. Kids who had never seen snow now taught others to fly. The mountain had become theirs. Scholarships turned hope into helmets, boots, and bindings. Keisha's class of 5-year-olds graduated to the big slope. He had scraped off the logos to find quiet snow. Instead, he found a voice, and the mountain listened. High above, the mountain rested under a violet sky. Below, the halfpipe held its breath. The bronze statue had frozen forever in a moment of flight. But the real Ryan was somewhere else. He had returned the mountain to those who needed it. Now, he just needed the quiet. His old board leaned against a snowbank, the scraped logos catching the last light. The yellow Olympic stamp was barely visible now. But it didn't matter anymore. What mattered was the boy in the airport. What mattered was Jamal coaching his sister. What mattered was Keisha leading a class. What mattered was Lily flying down the slope on a board he had signed. He had scraped off the logos to disappear. Instead, he became a landmark. This story is dedicated to everyone who carves their own path, and to the mountains that let them. The sun dipped behind the peaks. The snow turned blue, and somewhere in the trees, a board whispered through powder, alone, but never lonely.